Hi, this is Chet here from Avion Technology. We are a Chicago-based digital agency. We work in four silos. First is we help entrepreneurs develop minimum viable products, MVPs. The second silo we work in is we help digital agencies, especially those in the 250,000 annual revenue range, scale up to about $1 million. The third silo that we work in is digital marketing for local businesses, and the fourth silo is, of course, digital transformation with Microsoft Dynamics and Salesforce. So today I'm going to talk about hunting versus farming, especially from the context of for both entrepreneurs who have just taken their MVP to market, and also agencies that are kind of looking at growing from 200,000 per month to $1 million. So first of all, hunting and farming are two completely different skill sets, right? And I have seen in my experience over the last 17 years, they require two different kind of personalities, right? But often, I have also seen that in a lot of startups and a lot of small digital agencies, you kind of have the same person who does both, right? Usually it's the owner, right? Because good salespeople cost a lot of money, right? So a lot of us, we don't have that much money, right? If you're an agency who's doing about 20,000, 30,000 bucks per month, which kind of annualizes to about 250,000, 300,000, we really don't have money to kind of go and find a star salesman, right? And even if you do find someone, how long do they stay, right? Because if they're a good salespeople or salesperson, they will often end up leaving. So what do you do? How do you kind of push the boulder up the hill, right? So I have kind of found a solution for this, right? Which is that if you're the owner, unfortunately you have to be the hunter, right? There is no two ways about it. Because out of hunting and farming, I have personally noticed hunting is the harder one, farming is relatively easier. So if you're the owner of an agency, or if you're the guy who's taking a product to market, a lot of times you will have to be the guy who will have to go out, do the prospecting. You'll have to do the cold kind of lead gen, and create a deal pipeline or a lead pipeline. That being said, I always have been a firm believer that for a lot of small agencies, for a lot of startups, you gotta have a tag team. You gotta be two people, right? If one of you is going outside and doing the hunting, then one of you has to make sure that you deliver, and you deliver well, so that you get a lot of repeat business. Especially on the agency side, I have seen a lot of agencies which were run by salespeople, and the problem with them is that they kind of get a lot of new business, but if you're not delivering that new business well, agencies kind of tend to spin out of control and just a lot of bad feedback, a lot of bad reviews, and it just becomes difficult to scale it. So it's a two-step tango, right? So the way I operate, I like to operate in these concentric circles, right? And I believe that that's the best way to grow a team. So the first concentric circle is what I call a core, and these are your first 4 or 5 people that you hire, right? These are the guys that or gals that you really have to make sure you kind of hold on to them, because once you have those people, then you kind of build another circle around them of folks who do other activities, right? But you got to have your first 5 people, like, really, and a lot of times, in smaller agencies, they are like family friends, or husband, wife, and maybe a cousin or someone working. So those first 5 people that you hire, right, very important. And if you have family members, I know it gets tough with family members, but a lot of times the one good thing about family members is that they have longevity, and you don't have trust issues with them that you might sometimes have with outsiders. So build a stable core, right, of those 4 or 5 people. And maybe if you're the guy who's going out and hunting, right, it's your, I don't know, maybe it's your cousin who's looking after delivery, right? So make sure he becomes a very efficient operator in what he does. So you train him to be the farmer, right? And maybe your wife does HR, and maybe your finance, you've kind of farmed it out to a part-time CFO. So that's how you build your core. Um, I personally believe that, like I said, it's very difficult for one person to do both hunting and farming. It is possible, but it will take a lot of effort, right? Hunters uh, need to be a little bit like wild horses, right? You just let them loose, let them go out there, let them attend the networking meetings, let them go and make those cold connections, let them go for the conferences. If you are going to bog them down with paperwork, with project management, with uh, getting down into the weeds and resolving project issues, they are not going to have any bandwidth left to do the hunting, right? If you look at it in nature, hunting requires you to maybe walk for like 2 hours a day, and then suddenly sprint 5 times, and then you spear an animal and get the meat home. That's what hunting is. Whereas farming is more of stretched out activity where you're doing it for 8-9 hours, right? So hunters expend in an hour what you expend in 8 hours when you're farming, right? So if you're expecting the hunter in your small agency, in your startup, to go and hunt and then come back and farm, not possible, right? So let your hunters hunt, let them go out there, make those connections, let them go out there, create that lead pipeline, create that deal pipeline, and have a very good operator who's delivering on the projects that that your hunters bring in. And of course, you can give them account farming targets, 10% a year, 20% a year, YOY, that's possible. But please, please, please do not make the cardinal mistake of having your hunters also do farming. Another thing, hunters by their very nature hate paperwork. So please do not bog down your hunters with doing paperwork. It completely kills their mojo, right? Have them do the least amount of paperwork. Give them a task or a couple of tasks, give them targets, and they'll do it. And like I said, most small agencies and most startups, that's a lot of times that's the owner. So if you're the owner of a small agency looking to scale up to from 200,000 to 400,000, right? You go out, you make the connections, you get the big projects, you get the big accounts, but make sure you have an excellent project manager, an excellent operator who's making sure that those projects get delivered. Now, a lot of times that's easier said than done. It's very difficult to find someone do that. That's where Avion, we come into the picture. So when I told you initially that we help small agencies from like 200,000 scale up to about 1 million, this is exactly where we step in. Like you have an outsourced CFO, we almost come in as an outsourced COO, and we make sure that all your projects get delivered in time successfully, so that you do not have to worry about project management, right? So this is Chet here from Avion Technology. This was my little kind of spiel about hunting versus farming. If you like this video, please press the like button or subscribe. If you want to give us a shout, Chet at Avion Technology, and here's my phone number. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.